Welcome to the Daily Stoic Reflections, your go-to channel for timeless Stoic wisdom that can help transform your life. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the chaos of daily life or struggled to find peace amidst your emotions, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into powerful Stoic principles that will guide you toward emotional mastery and inner calm. We're going to explore how embracing willingness, letting go of judgment, and practicing selflessness can truly change the way you approach life's challenges. Stick with us until the end of the video, because we're unpacking some life-changing concepts that will help you gain control over your mindset and find peace, no matter what's going on around you. Embrace willingness in life. Life is full of unpredictable moments, and one of the most powerful ways to navigate through it is by embracing a mindset of willingness. When we stop resisting the natural flow of life, we experience less frustration and more peace. Accepting things as they come, whether good or bad, allows us to move through life with greater ease, rather than fighting against it. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and emperor, often spoke about the importance of accepting fate with grace. He encouraged us to love what fate brings our way, including the people and situations we encounter. It's not always easy, but when we can see that everything has its place in the grand scheme of things, we can avoid wasting energy in frustration and anger. This mindset doesn't mean passively letting life happen to us, but rather cultivating a willingness to engage with what life offers, whether we expected it or not. Consider a busy workday filled with challenging tasks. Instead of viewing them as burdens or sources of stress, try to embrace them as opportunities for growth. When you shift your perspective, you begin to feel more in control and less overwhelmed. Rather than dreading the work ahead, you might find joy in the learning process or satisfaction in the sense of accomplishment after completing something challenging. Another example of embracing willingness can be seen in something as common as being stuck in traffic. Instead of allowing frustration to rise as the minutes tick by, try reframing the situation. Could this be an opportunity for a moment of peace? Perhaps it's a time to listen to an inspiring podcast or simply reflect on your thoughts. By choosing to see these moments as chances for growth or relaxation, we can reduce stress and maintain our inner calm, no matter what's happening around us. In essence, the practice of embracing willingness doesn't just transform our experiences, it transforms us. It encourages us to approach each moment with an open mind and a peaceful heart, helping us navigate life's ups and downs with grace. Stop judging others. In a world full of differences, it's easy to fall into the trap of judging others. However, judgment often leads to anger and unnecessary emotional weight that only drags us down. When we quickly label people or situations as good or bad, we are allowing ourselves to be influenced by fleeting emotions, rather than responding from a place of understanding. This habitual judging can cloud our peace and create an environment where negativity thrives, both internally and externally. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, offered profound wisdom on this matter. He advised that we should maintain a neutral mindset and refrain from making judgments about others. Instead of assuming negative intentions or jumping to conclusions about someone's actions, we can take a step back and consider alternative perspectives. Perhaps the person you're judging is facing challenges you can't see, or maybe their actions were motivated by circumstances beyond your understanding. By suspending judgment, we give ourselves the chance to respond with more compassion, rather than jumping to anger or frustration. Letting go of judgment doesn't mean turning a blind eye to injustice or harmful behavior, but it does mean taking the time to understand before reacting. When we free ourselves from the need to critique others, we create space for empathy to grow. We begin to see people not as labels or categories, but as complex individuals with their own struggles, fears, and motivations. This shift in perspective protects our personal peace, as it allows us to engage with others from a place of calm and open-heartedness. Imagine a situation where someone cuts in front of you in line at the grocery store. Instead of immediately assuming they're rude or inconsiderate, pause and ask yourself, what might be going on in their life right now? Are they in a hurry because of an emergency? By reframing the situation, you free yourself from irritation and invite a sense of understanding. This simple shift can dramatically reduce stress and build emotional resilience, as we no longer allow other people's actions to disturb our inner peace. In the end, letting go of judgment isn't just about how we see others, it's about how we choose to experience the world. It opens the door to deeper connection and fosters a sense of tranquility within ourselves. Let go of control. One of the most common sources of anger and frustration is our attempt to control things that are beyond our power. We often try to control outcomes, the behavior of others, or external circumstances in hopes of creating a perfect, predictable world. However, life has its own course, and when we resist this reality, we only build emotional tension. This struggle against what we cannot control leaves us feeling powerless and overwhelmed, rather than empowered and at peace. The truth is, we cannot dictate the actions or decisions of others. While we can influence certain aspects of our lives, the behavior and choices of other people are outside our direct control. Trying to manipulate or force people to act in a way that fits our expectations only sets us up for disappointment and frustration. It's essential to accept that, while we may have influence, we cannot control everything, and in doing so, we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional weight. Instead of focusing on things beyond our reach, we can shift our attention to what we can control, our own thoughts, emotions, and responses. While we can't control how someone else behaves, we have full authority over how we react to their actions. If a person behaves in a way we find upsetting, we can choose whether to respond with anger or with calmness. This shift in focus allows us to reclaim our power and emotional well-being, even in challenging situations. A useful question to ask ourselves when we're feeling upset or anxious is this within my control? When we reflect on this question, it can help us discern whether our emotional energy is best spent trying to change something we can't influence, or if we should redirect our focus inward, where we can make the most meaningful change. By letting go of the desire to control everything around us, we begin to cultivate peace of mind and emotional resilience. For example, imagine you are stuck in a long line at the airport, feeling frustrated because your flight is delayed. Instead of letting the situation get the best of you, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, focus on things you can control, perhaps reading a book, practicing deep breathing, or simply accepting that this delay is part of the journey. This shift in mindset allows you to let go of frustration and embrace the present moment with greater calmness. In letting go of control, we stop resisting life and start flowing with it. We learn to trust that we can handle whatever comes our way, and that sometimes, the best way to create peace is by releasing the need to control everything around us. Embrace imperfection. In a world that often glorifies perfection, it's easy to fall into the trap of expecting flawless outcomes, flawless people, and flawless situations. However, the pursuit of perfection can lead to constant disappointment and frustration. Life, by its very nature, is imperfect, filled with messiness, unpredictability, and imperfections. Instead of striving for an unattainable ideal, we can find peace in accepting that imperfection is simply a part of the human experience. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, understood the importance of embracing life's inherent imperfections. He advised that we mentally prepare for obstacles and challenges each day. By expecting difficulties, we don't set ourselves up for unnecessary disappointment when they arise. In fact, the more we expect and accept the imperfection of life, the more resilient we become. Instead of being thrown off course by every setback or obstacle, we can face them with a calm mind, understanding that these are simply natural parts of the journey. Consider how perfectionism can impact relationships. When we hold unrealistic expectations of others, expecting them to always be kind, thoughtful, or accommodating, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Everyone has flaws, and expecting others to meet every one of our demands can create tension and misunderstandings. Instead, embracing the imperfections of others and focusing on open communication allows us to build stronger, more harmonious connections. By accepting that no one is perfect, we open the door to compassion, understanding, and deeper relationships. Imagine a scenario where a close friend forgets your birthday. Instead of feeling hurt or resentful, try to see it as a small imperfection in an otherwise meaningful relationship. Perhaps they were dealing with their own challenges, or maybe it was simply an oversight. Instead of holding a grudge or creating an emotional barrier, communicate openly and express how you feel. This approach fosters understanding and strengthens the bond, rather than allowing unrealistic expectations to lead to frustration. Embracing imperfection isn't about lowering standards or accepting mediocrity, but about releasing the need for everything to be perfect in order to find happiness. It's about shifting our mindset to appreciate the beauty in life's imperfections, recognizing that it is precisely these flaws that make life rich, dynamic, and authentic. By letting go of perfection, we create space for peace, resilience, and more meaningful connections with others. Take responsibility for your feelings. It's easy to fall into the belief that our emotions are entirely shaped by external events, the actions of others, situations, or even the environment. However, the truth is that it's not the events themselves that dictate how we feel, but rather our reactions to them. We have the power to choose how we respond to what happens around us, and taking responsibility for our feelings is the key to emotional freedom and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, often spoke about the importance of mastering one's mind. He emphasized that while we cannot control external events, we always have control over our thoughts and reactions. This profound insight invites us to realize that no one can make us angry or sad unless we allow it. By taking ownership of our emotional responses, we stop giving away our power to the people and situations around us. We become the ones who control our inner state, no matter what is happening in the outside world. One practical way to take responsibility for your feelings is to keep a journal of your emotional responses. When we write down how we feel and reflect on the events that triggered those feelings, we begin to notice patterns in our reactions. This self-awareness helps us gain a better understanding of what truly affects us and why. Through journaling, we can also practice emotional discipline by identifying unhealthy or reactive patterns and replacing them with more constructive, thoughtful responses. Over time, this practice cultivates emotional resilience and greater control over how we navigate life's challenges. For example, imagine a situation where a colleague criticizes your work in front of others. At first, it may be easy to feel embarrassed or defensive. However, by taking responsibility for your feelings, you can pause and reflect, why am I reacting this way? What does this criticism trigger in me? You may realize that it's not the colleague's words, but your own insecurities, that are fueling the emotional reaction. This understanding empowers you to respond calmly and constructively, rather than allowing the situation to escalate or negatively affect your emotional well-being. By taking responsibility for our feelings, we not only regain control over our emotional lives but also improve our ability to respond with clarity and composure. We stop being slaves to external events and start becoming the masters of our own emotional experience. This shift in perspective can lead to more peaceful interactions, stronger resilience, and an overall sense of empowerment in our daily lives. Practice non-reaction. In moments of criticism or provocation, our natural instinct might be to react immediately, whether it's defending ourselves, retaliating, or simply expressing our anger. However, reacting impulsively often fuels negativity, escalating conflicts, and deepening our emotional turmoil. By practicing non-reaction, we can choose to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively, which leads to greater emotional control and more peaceful outcomes. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, recognized the power of delayed responses in overcoming anger. He advised taking a step back before reacting, allowing time for reflection. When we react immediately to criticism or provocation, we often make decisions based on heightened emotions, which can cloud our judgment. By delaying our response, we create space for calmness and clarity, allowing us to make more rational decisions. Seneca's wisdom reminds us that it's not the provocation itself that causes distress, but our knee-jerk reaction to it. When we pause and reflect before responding, we can avoid unnecessary conflict and maintain our inner peace. In situations of conflict, silence and self-control can be incredibly powerful tools. Instead of rushing to speak or act in the heat of the moment, choosing silence can offer a way to disengage from the emotional storm. Silence doesn't mean submission, it means choosing to protect your peace and your emotional well-being. In many cases, the most powerful response is no response at all. By holding back, we gain the upper hand over our emotions, ensuring that we are not controlled by anger or frustration. For example, imagine a heated argument with a friend or colleague. They say something hurtful, and your first instinct is to fire back with a sharp retort. But instead, you take a deep breath, count to 10, and remain silent. In that silence, you give yourself the space to regain control over your emotions. When you eventually respond, you do so with clarity and a calm demeanor, which not only diffuses the situation but also protects your peace. By practicing non-reaction, we break the cycle of emotional reactivity and build a greater sense of self-mastery. This practice strengthens our ability to maintain composure in even the most challenging situations, leading to more thoughtful responses and a deeper sense of emotional balance. Find joy in selflessness. In a world where individual success and personal gain often dominate, it may seem counterintuitive, but finding joy in selflessness is one of the most powerful ways to enrich our lives and foster inner peace. Helping others and practicing kindness are not just acts of generosity, they are also profound antidotes to negative emotions. When we give of ourselves, whether through time, resources, or compassion, we shift our focus away from our own worries and bring more positivity into our own lives. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, beautifully captured the essence of kindness, stating that, where there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. This simple yet profound insight reminds us that every encounter is a chance to make a positive impact, no matter how small. By choosing to be kind, we not only uplift others but also elevate ourselves. Acts of kindness create a ripple effect, spreading warmth and goodwill in ways we may never fully comprehend, yet always benefiting from. Moreover, forgiveness plays an essential role in selflessness and joy. Holding on to resentment and anger can weigh heavily on our minds, creating unnecessary stress and unhappiness. By letting go of grudges and practicing forgiveness, we free ourselves from the mental burden of negativity. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning wrongdoing or forgetting past harm, but rather, it is about releasing the emotional hold that those experiences have over us. This release opens up space for peace, happiness, and growth. For instance, think about a situation where someone wronged you in the past, and you've held on to that bitterness for a long time. While it might feel justified at the time, holding on to anger only hurts you. When you decide to forgive, not only do you let go of the pain, but you also free your mind to embrace the present moment. The act of forgiveness itself can be incredibly liberating and restorative, allowing you to move forward with greater emotional clarity and happiness. In practicing kindness, whether through small gestures or more significant acts, we shift the focus from our own anxieties and frustrations to the well-being of others. This shift not only enriches the lives of those we help but brings a profound sense of fulfillment and joy into our own hearts. By embracing selflessness, we create a life where joy and happiness are rooted not in what we accumulate, but in the love and kindness we give to others. As we've seen today, Stoicism offers us practical tools for mastering our emotions and embracing life's inevitable challenges with grace. From shifting our mindset to embracing willingness to letting go of judgment and practicing kindness, each Stoic lesson brings us closer to emotional freedom and personal growth. But this is just the beginning. There's so much more wisdom to uncover. If you found today's content valuable, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you can continue exploring Stoic philosophy with us. Join the conversation in the comments below. Let us know how these principles are impacting your life. Remember, the journey to emotional stability starts with one step. Take that step today with us, and let's grow together.